is it going? Oh man. So this video, I hope will be really helpful because this was really hard for me. Choosing a childcare provider when I was ready to go back to work from maternity leave was hard and I was so worried about it. I was worried about it when I was pregnant. I wasn't even on maternity leave yet. I was pregnant and still working and I was just terrified. You hear like so many horror stories on the news and like from people just in general, even on Facebook mom groups. There are some crazy people out there. Crazy people. There are some crazy people out there. And I don't know, it's just really scary to think about leaving your kid and like it's this whole transition and everything. And you wonder like, are they gonna be taken care of as well as I would take care of them? Are they gonna be loved as much as I love them? Just all of the things, it's just really hard. But these are my tips on how I have chosen childcare providers in the past. And I've had to do it several times. We had to get daycare for Delilah when she was about 2. Thankfully, she was just with family until she was 2. And then unfortunately, that childcare provider passed away, which was so sad because we loved her so much. So then we had to choose another one, and then we had to choose preschool for her. And then our last one, we had to choose childcare for Harrison and after school care for Delilah. So we have been through a lot of different like childcare choices along the road, and we've had to select childcare a few different times. So I feel like there are a few things though that we did the same each time. And these are the tips that I would have for choosing a childcare provider. The first tip that I have is to use word of mouth. If you have mom friends, ask them. Like straight up ask them who they use for childcare, what the pros are, what the cons are, how much it costs if you're on a budget, that kind of thing. So use word of mouth. Honestly, every single childcare provider and preschool and just anyone who has been with my kids, we have chosen based on what other parents have said, honestly. I did a little bit of research as well, but honestly, it really just came down to what other moms told me. No one knows best about how to pick a childcare provider than another mom who's using one. And if she has already gone through all of that process and already done the research or knows this person as like a friend, I would say use word of mouth. I always ask people in my community. I ask other moms. I even like, my mom works in a grocery store, so I'll solicit her to like ask other parents who come through the grocery store. All of those things are so helpful. But word of mouth, I think, is the #1 way to find a great childcare provider. The next thing that you need to consider when you are looking for childcare is, do you want to go to like a childcare center or do you want to use like a home-based childcare? Personally, I like to use home-based childcares because I feel like, #1, it gives my kids a home environment to be in. If they can't be home in their own home, I would rather that they are just in a homey place. And now I know that a lot of childcare centers can be like homey and comfortable for kids. Most of them are. I've seen some really great ones, but there's just something about being at someone's home, somewhere that's lived in, somewhere that's loved, that I just really like. I also find that with home-based childcare, the numbers tend to be smaller. So my kids tend to get more one-on-one attention. And that's really important to me, that my kids are getting one-on-one attention all the time if possible. Our childcare provider literally loves my kids like I do. I don't think I could choose a better person to be with my kids when I'm not there, because she legitimately loves my kids like I do, and she has their best interests in mind. So that has always just been something that I have looked at. If you are going to use a childcare center, if that's something that you want to do, a lot of people like this approach as well, because a lot of the centers will transition to preschool. So you can go right from, you know, the daycare or the infant rooms to their preschool program. So there's not a whole big transition if you do that, which a lot of parents really like. If you do go for a childcare center though, you need to decide if you're gonna go for one that follows a specific educational theory or child development theory. So some of the ones that come to mind are like Montessori or the Reggio Emilia, all of those things, but that is definitely another video all in itself. But a lot of childcare centers tend to follow either one particular educational theory, or they will have like a mission statement of the things that they want or that they believe for kids. So make sure that their mission or their child development theory stories and ideas are in line with what you're looking for. Also, make sure to check out how they feed kids. Do they expect you to pack lunch for your kiddos every day? These are all questions that you're going to want to ask. So I actually have a list of questions that I have compiled for my childcare provider, interviews. And if that is something that you are interested in seeing, it is linked just down below. Well, not linked, it's all just copy pasted down below. It's in the description box. So you can check those out. Those are all really great places to start. And if you have other questions of, what should I be looking for, these kind of things, make sure that you ask in the comments because I would love to answer those. I'm not an expert, but I've been through it several times. So hopefully I'll be able to help you out. The next tip that I have for choosing a childcare spot is to take your kiddo there. Even if they are a baby, you'll be able to tell right away if they are comfortable. I usually take my kids in a couple of different times to meet their childcare providers before they go and stay with them. I don't think it's kind just to drop somebody off with someone that they don't know. So we have always just taken them and, gotten them accustomed to where they're gonna be. We even did a couple of hour drop-off visits. When Harrison was a baby, our childcare gal, her name is Brienne, would have him just for a couple of hours while I was still on maternity leave so that they could get to know one another and kind of figure out how they were going to, just be. And it was a great thing. With Delilah, she is a kid who really likes to watch and observe. And if there was other kids, she definitely needed time to adjust. So she needed time to learn who they are and how to play there and be able to just maybe watch for a little bit and ask questions and talk to the person who's going to be watching her. Those kind of things. Those were all really important. So I highly recommend taking your kids there, getting a feel for if they are going to be comfortable there, and if they're not, figure out why. Your kids' intuition is often really, really good. It doesn't necessarily mean that that place is not a great childcare place. It might just not be a great fit for them. It might just have too many kids. It might just be a really big center and that's not what your child needs. It might be that the kids there have too strong of personalities or too quiet of personalities, depending on the type of person that your child is. So make sure that you take them in for a visit so that they can get to know who is going to be hanging with them while you're working. And then the last tip that I have is look for the absolute best childcare that you can afford in a budget that works for you. Do not look at childcare centers. Do not even go visit them if they are outside of your budget. They might be really awesome. They might just be as good as the childcare center that is in your budget. If budget is not an option, then by all means, go visit everywhere. But I know that for me, especially in the state of Oregon, childcare prices can be outrageous. Oregon is one of the highest in the United States for childcare as far as cost goes. So I had to keep scrolling. I couldn't even look at a childcare center that was outside of my budget. I couldn't really do a childcare center that basically took all of my check. That wasn't something that was gonna work for our family. If we were gonna do that, I might as well have just stayed home. So make sure that you are getting the best that you can for your money, but not looking at something and breaking your own heart that you just really can't fit into your budget. So that is everything that I have to talk about today as far as childcare goes. If you are a parent that uses childcare, whether it's full-time, part-time, or you have a nanny come to your house, however it works, if you have some tips for finding the perfect childcare fit for other families, feel free to leave those tips down below. I know that lots and lots of mamas will come and look at this video, and all of our tips can be resources as well. So I hope again that this video was helpful for you, and I hope that you enjoyed it. So if you did, feel free to give me a big thumbs up. And if you are new here, hi, my name is Caitlin and this is Beans and Monkeys. I would love it if you would subscribe on your way out. If you are one of my current subscribers, thank you so much for being here. I absolutely adore you guys. You're the best community on the internet, and I just love you guys. I just do. You're the best. And if you would like to, you can turn on the bell notifications next to the subscription box. That way you know every single time I post a video. There's been some weird stuff going on with the subscription boxes lately, so if you want to know every time something new comes out, feel free to hit the notification bell. And if you want to find me on other social sites, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and all that stuff is just down in the description box below. And by the way, you guys, have fun today.